Well, welcome everyone. We're happy to have you back here at Career Compass Central. And today the subject is Time Management Revisited. This is session S6, part of third year B. That would be the spring semester of your junior year. And as you well know, you saw a video on time management as freshmen. But now you're a couple of years older, and so we want to revisit this issue with you again. I'm going to do this a little differently today. I have with me today Sarah Arigi. Sarah is a senior mechanical engineering student. She's going to be graduating here in May of 2020. I've asked Sarah to join me, and I've asked her to talk a little bit about the important time management skills that she's developed while she's been a student here at Villanova. And I think you'll find it very interesting to hear this subject of time management from Sarah's perspective, from a student perspective. And so without that, let me introduce Sarah and ask you to start sharing with us.
Thank you for the introduction, Professor Falcone. I'm excited to share some of the time management skills I've learned in college with everyone. I hope they're helpful to you. They've been pretty helpful to me over the last 4 years. So to kick it off, my first and biggest tip and thing that I could offer anyone is planners will be your best friend if you let them. I love my planner. I consider it a Bible to me. I don't really trust my brain to remember everything, and everyone's so stressed trying to do their homework and getting things accomplished. Your brain shouldn't also be stressed to memorize everything you have to do. So I always encourage everyone to have a planner, pick a fun one, something you'd be excited to write in, and I think it would really help to not put that stress on yourself and to just take it off and put it somewhere else.
Can I ask a question on that, Sarah?
Yeah, of course.
Do you think your planner is something that you should be writing in with a pen on an actual piece of paper, or is it something you can do electronically, or does that matter?
I think whatever works best for you. I know a lot of people who do benefit from having a computer that could be linked to their phone for reminders. But for me, I really think pen to paper is probably the best thing to stick something into my brain. So I'd like to keep a physical copy as well.
Yeah.
The next thing that I like to do is kind of create a list of tasks you want to accomplish for the day and then also for the week. I think it's important to categorize the things you want to accomplish every day. I always write the most important thing first and then kind of go from there. I really like the satisfaction of crossing things off my list. It makes me feel productive. This is something that's really a great thing to put in your planner. So each day you can keep that list in your planner. It helps you stay on track and kind of meet your goals. And that's something that's worked for me over the last couple of years that I've really liked, that I know Professor Falcone also has a little notebook on his desk with his lists. So.
Question on that, Sarah. When do you do that? When do you fill out your planner? Like, for instance, for today, when did you fill out your book for today?
So
in the morning or the night before, or when do you?
What I want to accomplish today, I filled out the night before, and I did add some things along the way. But I think it's important to kind of visualize your day before it starts, so you can kind of prioritize where you need to be at what times. It's also helpful to just see what your whole week looks like, so you can fit in all your other activities if you have that list and it's written out. Visualizing
your day, is that something you do in the morning when you wake up with a cup of coffee, or is it something you do the night before, visualizing your day?
I like to do it the night before, so I'm kind of prepared for the next day.
Okay.
I think it sets a good precedent for the day if you kind of know what you have to do and know what you have to accomplish. If not, you might just kind of waste time, so it's kind of helped me schedule my time and also be productive. So, yeah. Another tip that I would encourage students is to know your time wasters. For me, if I have to get a homework assignment done that's very close, the due date's very close, I can't listen to music. But if I have more time and I can be more relaxed about an assignment, then I can listen to music. I think it's important to know yourself though, and know if you can listen to music, if you can do your homework while watching TV, because those things can really eat up time if you're not giving it your 100% attention. And you have to know that about yourself, but if you're going to be successful in scheduling your time and getting everything you need to do accomplished.
I'll offer a comment on this concept of time wasters. We all have a tendency to justify our own time wasters. I have to call so-and-so. I have to watch that TV show. I have to go down the corner and get gum because I liked it. We find ways to justify our own time wasters. Try not to do that. Get beyond that. Get back to the work at hand. Time wasting is a real problem, and it's because we all fall into the same trap. justify our own time wasters.
I think it's really, to go off, that's really important to know yourself.
Yeah.
It's a very individualized thing. What works for someone might not work for you. So if you're going to be doing homework with someone, you should also be aware of like the way each of you are prepared to do a task or study. Another thing that I like to do to kind of keep me organized is to put time limits on tasks. I think it's really important to consider that going into midterms and finals. A typical midterm studying for me, if I have, let's say, 2 tests I want to study for, I'll split up the morning and do 3 hours of studying in the morning for one class, and then take a break in halfway, and then 3 hours for another class in the afternoon. And I think it's important to distinguish that time as separate and like completely put one thing away and move on to something else to give your brain not only a break, but also so you don't prolong unproductive work. I think you're more productive if you give yourself a time limit, do the work then, and then you can revisit it another day as opposed to just dragging things along.
What do you do during the break time, Sarah? Between the 2 3-hour blocks of time, what's going on there?
I think it's important to take like a hard break, especially if we're talking about like midterms or finals, to kind of let your brain completely reset for a new subject if you're going to be moving on to a new subject. So maybe like an episode of TV, a snack, coffee, those kind of things, are what I like to do. Something completely different though.
How about interacting with others during that break time? Do you call your friend? Do you call your mom? Any interacting with other people during that break time? Do you find that valuable or useful?
I do think it's important because your brain becomes so focused on the one task that you're doing that it's important to like have those outside resources to kind of keep you grounded a little bit during those times. So I do find that important. Another thing that I would recommend is starting tasks early. I know teachers always say this, and everyone has told you this probably from middle school on all the way to college, but it's a very big help to not stress yourself out the day before trying to accomplish something that should have taken like a week. You can take some stress out of your life if you could start early. And by starting early, if I have an assignment due Thursday, my ideal situation for that would be working really hard at Monday and Tuesday, so Wednesday is kind of like a catch-all day, and I can tie up any loose ends, ask my friends questions, ask the teacher questions, and that seems to work for me in like an ideal scenario, but I know we are busy, so that can interfere with that.
Sarah's talking about an interesting issue here, which is the source of stress. And there are many, many studies, and it's for many years. And if I can encapsulate that, the source of stress for many people is scheduling too many things in a defined length of time and procrastinating. And if you watch some of our videos and text on Career Compass, we talk about procrastination. So if, to use Sarah's example, if you have something due on Thursday, if you're working on that on Monday and Tuesday, you're de-stressed over that. So when Wednesday comes, you know in the back of your mind you're sort of ready for that. When Thursday comes, you're kind of just you're kind of polishing up your assignment ready for Thursday. But you've already worked on it on Monday and Tuesday and eliminated, to some degree, the stress associated with that Thursday assignment. Very important issue that she's discussing here for stress management. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yes, that's definitely helped me kind of mitigate some of the stress in my life in like times where like you do have assignments that tend to pile up. It's nice to like pull back a little bit and not have that pile up really like get to you as much. Another thing I'd say is trying not to multitask. I know everyone does it or at least tries to do it, but if you're trying to do 3 tasks at once, I would argue all 3 of them are going to suffer. You're probably not going to do them to the best of your ability if you just sat down, did one thing really well, sat down to the next thing. So I feel like that's kind of helped me be more productive in my general life, because if you do that, you arguably would save time as opposed to like trying to do it all at once. Something's going to fail. You got to go back. It takes so much more time than to just do it right the first time.
And if I might add to that, we live in a time frame now where the ability to multitask seems to be, you get a star for that. That's a good thing. In fact, the more things I'm trying to do at the same time, somehow or another, the more productive a person I am. When in fact the opposite is true, which I think you're making a point of. Try not to multitask. Focus on one activity, get that done, and then move on to the next activity. Our brains are generally not designed to be doing too many things at one time. We deal back to this stress level issue. If we try to do too many things at one time, generally we don't do a very good job on any of them, and we're overstressed. So be careful about multitasking.
I also think it helps to kind of reduce the panic of having a lot to do. if you keep saying, like, oh, I have this, this, and this due, then you're just gonna like set yourself in like a panicky pace. But if you take it like one thing at a time and kind of like work a little bit at a time, it kind of de-stresses the whole situation. So I feel like that's a really good like stress reliever too, just to consider. A big thing for me when I actually do my work is scheduling breaks. I like to structure my study time in 45 minutes on and 15 minutes off. So by that I mean 45 minutes of straight doing work, my phone's like aside, I have my computer up if I need it for the work, but that's very much dedicated to just focusing on work. And then every 45 minutes I take a complete 15-minute break, and I'll go on my phone, check my email, do all of that, and then kind of reset. It really keeps me kind of focused when I need to be, and then gives me the free time that my brain desperately needs to kind of take a little break. So that would be, yeah.
That's our question for you on that. When you say during the 45-minute period, you said put your phone aside. What does that mean? What do you do with your phone in the 45 minutes?
I try to throw it in my backpack or something on the floor somewhere where it's out of reach a little bit, so it's not convenient for me to just pick it up and check.
Do you shut it off? I mean, is it?
I don't. I put it on silent, so it's like
all right,
close
okay.
enough.
Okay.
But it's not in reach where like if the screen was to light up, I'd see it and then be inclined to like go reach for it.
This is a really important issue for us all to think about, and I know from a faculty perspective, we're talking about this all the time, that our students seem to be consumed by the handheld electronic device all the time. There's no way that around here at Villanova or anywhere else some organization is going to dictate to you what to do and how to use your electronic device, and you're going to have to focus on that yourself. Sarah has a way for herself to deal with that. You just put it out of your sight for 45 minutes, and when that's out of sight, you can concentrate on the work at hand. It's very important, because it's very easy to become dependent on it, as you well know. So dealing with that issue for your generation, it becomes very prime issue. I mean, of this part of our discussion, what you said, dealing with your handheld electronic device is perhaps the most important time management tip she can share with you.
Yes, I would agree with that. I think it's the easiest way to be the most productive for your time, is to kind of eliminate any distractions that you can. Another thing I like to do to be organized is kind of like a filing system. I know everyone kind of has their own way of either labeling folders on computers and stuff, but for me at the beginning of every semester I like to get a folder and then a notebook, like a paperback notebook. I get them both in the same color, and I kind of like assign them a subject. So when I'm going through my backpack, I know for me blue is a semi-math class, pink always means labs, so it's easy for me to kind of be able to find all my papers and keep them in a place that's like convenient for me. So I think that's an easy way to be conveniently organized. That will save you time in the long run.
Organizational skill will become very important to you as you proceed through the rest of your time here at Villanova and as you begin your professional career. Sarah has a system in place that works well for her. I have a system in place that works well for me. Everybody can develop one, but the point is, develop an organizational system for yourself where you can get to information you want, both paper information and electronic information, quickly. You don't have to be, rumbling through stuff when you need to get to something quickly. Organizational skill is very important in time management.
And I do have to say, I think the biggest time management thing to keep in mind is to know yourself and know what works for you, because everyone is different in that sense. So kind of know what you need from your day. If it's to be productive, if it's to have a relaxed day, like you can plan your own life, but do it effectively, I'd like to say. And one of the last things I'd talk about is kind of spending time or planning time to do something other than work. I think it's really important in your week or in your day to schedule a time where you can completely take your brain off, let's say engineering or your tests or like the stresses in your life, and do something completely different. Like exercise is great, or like schedule time to see friends. Because if it's scheduled in your life, you won't feel guilty like pausing your homework if you're getting dinner with friends. So I think that's like an effective way to schedule your time that's also like a stress reducer that I like to do.
And going off on that, what from Sarah was saying, if you study traits of the most successful people, are people that have figured out how to balance time in their lives. And what that means is you devote a certain amount of time to work, you schedule some time for relaxation, and you schedule some time for rest. Those three things. And then the relaxation piece is where you're doing something that's not work, that you enjoy doing, a hobby, a pastime, something you enjoy, that is particularly interesting to you that is not work and not sleep, something that you enjoy doing. It's very important to add that into your life. Many times what we do is we restrict that time, we cut into that time too much, and we fill it with work, and we think we're more effective that way. But in truth, as you become more of a professional, as you start your career, you're going to find that that relaxation time for you will become very important in making you more effective in your work life as well. So balance in your life, both your personal and professional life, becomes very important. I think that's the point you're trying to make.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So those were just some tips I had to kind of, help with your sanity of how to manage your time junior year. I know it can be a really stressful time, but I hope these kind of help you guys have a less stressful junior year.
I want to thank you, Sarah, for sharing your ideas and thoughts with us. And for all of you out in Career Compass land, thanks so much, and have a great day. Bye now.